Okay, this is lesson 4.3, comparing rational numbers. So last lesson we talked about what is a rational number, identifying rational numbers. This lesson we're going to compare rational numbers. Make sure you have a title and your notes are set up really nice and neat, and even your date is in that outside corner. Okay, so rational numbers we learned this last time, but they can be written as what kind of numbers? A ratio of two integers, okay, and we see that as fractions. We see that as certain type of decimals, decimals that terminate, or decimals that repeat, and we can see that as percents. Okay, so once you've identified if a number is rational or not, you can compare them, least to greatest, ascending to descending, and you can list them in order. So how are we going to compare? You guys compared fractions last year, you compared decimals, and you compared percents. So we really can compare rational numbers in a variety of ways. All right, and you could even list out some ways on your paper. I'm going to teach you guys 4 steps how I want you to compare rational numbers. Okay, first, we are going to change all the rational numbers to decimals. You could change them all to fractions and find a common denominator. You could change them all to percents and compare. But I find that it's easiest to change them all to decimals. It's also easier to kind of look and compare, and I find that it's the least amount of work. So we are going to change all of our rational numbers to decimals. Then we're going to line up the numbers vertically with the decimals aligned or lined up, just like you would if you were adding or subtracting decimals. The third step, we're going to compare the place value. All right, so is the ones place larger or least? Is the tenths, hundredths? All right, and then last, once you've compared and you've ordered them however the instructions have asked you to, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to put them in order or list them in the original form. Okay, so don't leave them all as decimals. You'll need to put them back in that original form that they were given to you. So if they were given to you in a percent, you would need to put them back in a percent. Okay, now we're just going to do one example together, and then I think you should be ready to go for your assignment. Okay, I want you to list these in ascending order. Remember that ascending is least to greatest. Descending, and we can go ahead and write this. And down here, you guys know that these vocabulary words already, is greatest to least. Okay, so if I gave you the repeating decimal using that bar notation of 2.4, I gave you the fraction 49 over 20, and I gave you the percent 240%. And we need to list these in ascending order. So we go back to step 1. We're going to change all of our rationals to decimals. So to start with, we have 2.4 repeating. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to list out some decimals and then I'll leave my bar notation because we know that that 4 goes on and on for forever and it never repeats. 49 over 20. Remember that this is a division sign. So if we did 49 divided by 20, we would end up with 2.45. Okay, and then remember, a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal 2 places to the left, and we end up with 2.4. Okay, now, we did the first step, change them all to decimals. We did the second step, line up numbers vertically with decimals aligned. Now the third thing we want to do is compare. Make sure that you look back at your instructions to make sure that you're ordering the numbers how the instructions asked. That's a common mistake. So we want to order them from least to greatest or in ascending order. All of these numbers have 2's. So we're going to go and look at the tenths place. Well, they all have 4 tenths. So now we're going to go look at the hundredths. There's nothing here, so I could put a 0 as a placeholder. Is 0, 5, or 4 least? Well, 0's least. So what I do is I put a 1 over here and circle it because that's my least number. That number's going to go first in my list. Then, is 4 or 5 less? 4. So this one will come next, and then 2 45 hundredths will be the greatest. Okay, so now we've ordered our numbers. We've compared by converting them all to decimals. But look at the fourth step, list in original form. So our last step, 2 4/10, was that 240%. Next was the 2.4 repeating. And then our greatest number was 49/20. And that would be my final answer. Okay, so again, you want to list them, your final answer, back in that original form. All right, so we've identified rational numbers and we have compared in different forms when given fractions, decimals, and percents. So now you should be able to come to class tomorrow. Remember, if you have any questions, please write them down, highlight them, and then tomorrow we will go over the lesson and we will move forward into the material. Have a great day.